ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. Of all the offensive and shocking things Matt Walsh has said over the course of his career, nothing has earned him a "you shut your filthy mouth" more than the shockingly offensive thing he just said about curling. Behold!
Didn't even land in the target, so I don't know why the woman was screaming like that. Pushes the puck down the rank and then starts screaming like a schizophrenic hobo. And you got the guy with the broom. And they're not doing anything. Let's just be real about this, okay? It's like when you're a kid and your dad's out mowing the lawn and you have your little plastic Fisher-Price lawnmower. Oh, isn't he cute? He thinks he's doing something. And I don't want to hear anyone tell me,
"Oh, no, Matt, you don't understand curling. The broom guy is really important."
Yeah, whatever, nerd.
This nerd, Mr. Matthew Walsh, is going to set the record straight just a little bit. Now, I do appreciate it's a bizarre sport to like. I happen to like darts a lot. Like, I can watch darts while I'm jogging all day. I happen to like poker, but poker obviously is a little bit more exciting. I happen to like bowling. I love watching bowling. The only thing I don't like is the match play where everybody takes 2 frames. There are certain games that are just relaxing to watch. I happen to like bowling as an activity. I'm not bad. I've averaged over 200 for my 3 games week after week now. I'm not quite as good at darts, but I love darts. Curling is not just a sport. It is an art. It is something where if you don't understand the nuance, you wouldn't necessarily understand why it might be so scandalous to have a player systematically nudging the stone as it goes along. You've all heard about the controversy now. We have entered Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We have entered day 4 of what I am calling Kennedy Fingergate. We'll just call it Fingergate, where the Canadian team allegedly illegally touching a stone and then apparently denying the violation of the rules.
You can fuck off. You haven't done it once? I haven't done it once. Okay? Well, I'll show you a video after the game. How about you walk around? I'm like, no, that's the advantage on house.
It set off a scandal. I mean, it's fantastic. It goes to show you that, this is a first world scandal. It's a distraction from the darker issues of the world. And I think that's why a lot of people are jumping on it, or at least getting interested in it. But for anybody who knows about curling, you would watch that bit from Matt Walsh and you would say, "No, sir, this nerd here calls you a buffoon."
You shut your dirty little mouth.
A shameless buffoon. Like bocce ball, bocce ball is not quite as intricate as curling. So curling, you're on the ice, you got the sweepers, and don't tell me they don't do nothing. What they do is actually amazing. And what people don't understand is it's a game not just of millimeters, such millimeters that they have to take out a device sometimes, which has a little pressure sensor on it, to see how close the closest stone is because it's visually imperceptible. And so you have a game that relies on such skills, sometimes it requires a machine that measures. So you have a little bar, and as it strokes the ball, it gives you a number of tension. And the higher the tension means it is further from the center. That's how close it is.
Yeah, well, you did a good job, Reed.
Okay, here we go. Keep your head out of the way, Reed.
So just
over 1 1/4?
Yeah.
Just over 1 1/4?
The problem is how wobbly the pin is.
Oh, man.
I think it's yellow.
That looked yellow.
And you have the pebbling. They spray the ice. It's like cutting grass in the morning on a golf course. And the little bubbles of ice. And then you have a broom. And the reason why the sweeping is so flipping amazing is because it absolutely changes the trajectory of the stone. Back in the day, there was a scandal when the curling players were using new types of fabric for their brooms. Back in the day, the brooms used to be either horsehair or bristles. It used to be real bristles. People don't like the bristles because the bristles would break off the stones. And if you catch an imperfection on the ice, then it causes the stone to what's called pick, and it'll just go in some wild direction. And so you sweep regardless just to keep it clean. But they were using this fabric that could allow you to melt the ice if you were to really brush properly and absolutely, say, artificially navigate the stone in a way that traditional fabrics couldn't.
Elite curlers are taking a stand against, quite literally, sweeping new technologies that are dramatically changing the game.
This season we've seen more manipulation with the stone, with the brooms, than we've seen ever in the past.
It all centers around high-tech fabrics used in curling brooms. It's believed certain broom heads manipulate the rock's path, speed, and even change or stop its direction.
I don't think anybody's comfortable with what happened with our game the last year or two.
Enter these scientists from Canada's National Research Council, recruited by the World Curling Federation to investigate if broom technology is manipulating the game.
These could be performance-enhancing brooms.
Yes, it's very possible.
Dr. Louis Poirier is an ice physicist. Dr. Krista Hominick, a material chemist. Both tasked to study how engineered brooms manipulate ice surfaces and the impact on curling rocks.
Now, I was having an argument with someone on the internet who said, Viva, what difference would it have made if, what's his face, Kennedy, did in fact nudge the granite of the stone with his finger? It doesn't do anything, so doing something that has no impact is irrelevant. To which I said, you don't know of the intricacies of the sport if you say something like that. I use AI not to think for me, but we use AI as calculators when we use calculators to do math that the brain, at least some brains, are not particularly capable of doing. Someone says, I genuinely can't believe people are taking the curling scandal so seriously. Nobody really is, but it's fun to talk about. No one can explain to me how touching the rock with your finger would help. I will explain it to you. How can it be cheating if it doesn't do anything? It does something. The one thing I wasn't sure about is whether or not they can use stopwatches in the Olympics, because they use them in recreational play. And that is to say, they hit a button as they kick off the hack to push the stone, and they measure the time it takes for them to get from the hack, those two little rubber foot pads, to the hog line where you have to release the stone before it crosses the hog line and touches the hog line, not crosses entirely. And they measure it, and it can come down to fractions of a second. And just so you understand this, by the way, because I just wanted to make sure about the math, how the stopwatch measures time, not distance. The stopwatch on the brooms are used to measure the speed of the ice. Hog to hog, the standard draw is around 14.5 to 15.5 seconds from hog line to hog line. That's from one end of the rink to the other, where you have to release the stone. A difference of just 0.1 seconds on a stopwatch can indicate the difference in travel of half a foot to a full foot of travel. So when you see somebody nudging the stone with their finger on the granite, which is already forbidden, the slightest nudge, if you know that you are 1/10 of a second slower than you need it to be, can mean the difference between 6 inches to a foot, depending on how you sweep.
Am I making anybody love curling here, or am I just crazy?
And then you want to see some of the shots? Shot 9, shot 6, shot 1. I'll tell you what's going on as we go through these. Let me just turn the volume down a little bit. They're going to...
Right now it is a stolen point for the U.S. Final rock. Kevin Cooey.
Kevin Cooey.
With it.
So look what they're doing. If you don't sweep, it's going to curl more. You sweep to keep it straight. Then once it hits its trajectory, you can let it curl if you wanted to. They want to keep this one straight because he might have over curled it if they didn't sweep. And so it hits the stone, deflects into the center, and pops out the stone that was there. Watch this.
Stay with it. Get off it.
Boom.
Come
out.
Across.
Look at this.
If you got this.
Out. And they just got two.
Got it. But two.
That's amazing. All right, number 6. That was amazing. To use the outer stone to deflect it into the inner stone, to deflect out the point that was counting. So you go count 2. You went down from 1, up by 2.
No stone in the 10.
Yep. Yeah.
Hard. Keeping it straight through the sweep. Now they let it go, so it
really
curls.
hard.
Boom.
Run it back. Jump it across.
Boom. And now sweep the one out. You can sweep the stone when it's past the halfway line at the end, and they get 3 points. Number 1. Jennifer Jones. It will give you goosebumps.
She
I remember
will be
this.
Canadian champion if she makes this shot. The most difficult attempt, trying to come in off a stone on the outside, trying to get the roll to the
Keep it
stone.
straight.
On the button.
Keep it straight.
They're working on
Watch
it
this.
frantically. There's the contact.
Boom.
There's the roll. She's made it.
I take this moment to remind everybody, curling is, in fact, an amazing sport. And a nudge of a finger, if you realize by the time you hit the hog line and let go of the handle that you are 1/10 of a second behind where you need it to be, you nudge it, you will have an impact on it. Now, some people say, well, he could have nudged it in the wrong direction. The dude's not an idiot. Curling is not a sport. You see, these are fighting words. These are fighting words. Anyhow, the scandal, again, is never about the scandal itself. It was about the cover-up, the unnecessary cover-up. Matt Walsh, I'm sure if he got into curling, he would love it as much as Americans love baseball.
There's no crying in baseball.